Hey, Charlie Pyatt here. Last episode I wrapped up the first round of finalized CAD work for the VR mask enclosure. This included figuring out the headphone design and wrapping up the strap tensioning system. This time out I'm going to 3D print a version of the mask enclosure and do a rough fitting of the Oculus hardware into my design to see what changes need to be made. This is going to involve the first real set of checks to see how the Oculus hardware fits into the custom enclosure. This stage is always a little nerve-wracking because if things are too far off, it could mean I have a lot of repair work to do on the 3D modeling side. But we'll just have to go in and see what we need to do. All right, let's get to it. So I have my first rough version of the enclosure printed out here. This was saved out directly from my Fusion 360 CAD model and printed on my Formlabs Form3 printer in a clear resin. Using a clear resin for this rough fitting is great because it allows me to see through the enclosure. Lets me quickly tell if things are lined up right that would normally be really difficult to see if this was printed in a solid resin. I found out immediately that the Oculus would not fit past the lower edges of the enclosure. This isn't really surprising. Reverse engineering an enclosure like this takes a lot of trial and error. Usually I can get it on the third set of revisions to the CAD work, so again, this is pretty expected. So what I'm doing here is using an X-Acto knife to whittle out enough of the enclosure to fit the Oculus in. I'm also using needle files and a Dremel off screen to make more aggressive cuts into the parts. I'm just going back and forth between cutting out material and seeing if I can get the Oculus to fit in place. I'm marking up the changes I'm making on the 3D model itself so I don't lose track of any modifications I'm doing. After I get everything fit right, I can use the ruler and calipers to pull dimensions off the modified enclosure and then update the CAD to match. But yeah, for now it's just a lot of cutting and testing to see if I'm getting the fit to work. I also found that there are a lot of extra plastic flanges on the Oculus itself. These are used for aligning the hardware in the original Oculus body, and I won't be needing them. I'm carefully trimming those flanges off to get the clearances better on the enclosure. It's starting to get there now. The Oculus hardware is seating most of the way into the 3D print. Up next I'm bringing in those tracking camera surrounds into place. As I talked about in earlier episodes, those cameras are going to be kind of a nightmare to get aligned into the enclosure correctly, so those are printed as separate parts. This will let me get the main enclosure correct, then I can just keep printing out those small surrounds until they are dialed into the right position. The main enclosure takes around 10 hours to print at low resolution, but those surround sets can be printed in just over an hour, so that should help me keep the revision cycle moving. If I had those integrated into the main model, then I would be wasting a lot of resin and waiting a day or more in between tweaks, which can get a little dicey. It's easy to forget what or why a change was made at that pace. But yeah, I'm still seeing something that's keeping the Oculus shifted forward. It looks like there are some tabs on the back of the battery that are kicking the unit off its seating, so I'm going to have to trim those down. It also looks like the corners of the battery assembly were still hitting the enclosure, so I cut some notches out of the 3D print. So at this point everything is seating in there pretty good, so now I'm just going to draw out all the changes I made. This log will show what needs to be updated and be a best guess at how far to move the various components in the CAD model. The bulk of the changes are still really around those tracking cameras, but otherwise things are looking good. Beyond that, I'm just going around the model and measuring how far off the mounting points are and writing it down. I'm also checking where things should be in the Fusion 360 model off screen. I can measure that the eyepieces on the Oculus should have a certain distance from the back of the enclosure in the CAD, and if they don't match up in real life, then something is wrong and needs to be adjusted somewhere. This is an easy trick for basic troubleshooting and just figuring out how far things are off and where they're off. So now I'm hopping over into Fusion 360 to get all those physical changes I made off the first test print back into the digital model. There's this thing with parametric modeling where the further you go back to make changes in your design tree, the more likely things are to go horribly wrong with the 3D model. Fortunately, the enclosure is driven directly from the original Oculus model I made, so there are going to be a lot of errors from simply moving the tracking camera locations. Nothing to really do about it, but make the updates to the Oculus model and then repair things as best I can. You can see the red and yellow error indicators where the update failed in my design tree at the bottom there. This is actually not as bad as I expected, honestly. Different parametric CAD packages are more or less resilient to high-level changes like this, and I'm finding Fusion 360 is pretty good at handling it. But yeah, I've really just rolled my feature tree all the way back to the beginning of the model, and I'm slowly working forward through all those errors. It's annoying work, but not super difficult or time-consuming. After I get the parametric steps fixed up a little bit, I'm just going to go back through and update all those changes I logged in that first dry fit test. The overall clearances for getting the Oculus into the enclosure that I struggled with in the testing look like they have mostly solved themselves after I updated the camera positions, which is nice. It's looking like most of the internal camera clearances are still good, so I won't need to make any big changes there either. The other things I need to make adjustments to are the mounting points for the Oculus inside the enclosure. I found these were very close and only need some minor position tweaking to align in the real world. Same with the side mounts. These only look like they needed some minor adjustments to line up with the screw holes in the Oculus. Up next, I added those notch cutouts for the clearance of the corner of the batteries on the Oculus. I probably went a little overkill on the size of these cutouts, but it shouldn't really matter. These notches will be covered up by the face gasket once it is on the enclosure, so all this should be pretty much invisible once everything is all assembled. I'm also adding some physical registration features to those camera surrounds. This will make it so all those little separate parts will seat into the right orientation when I'm doing my next round of testing and revisions. So yeah, things are looking pretty good. I'm going to save out the parts again and print them up. Still expecting this to need some additional changes, so I'm going to stick with printing another test round in clear resin. The final will be printed at a higher resolution and probably with a different resin. The clear is great for testing like this. It's easy to modify with basic tools and is relatively cheap to buy, but is a little too brittle for the final enclosure print. For that, I'm going to use a more durable gray resin. But yeah, I grabbed an infrared time-lapse of the clear version 2 enclosure being printed out, which looks pretty slick. I love seeing this in time-lapse. It makes it look like the part is just magically rising up out of a vat of goo that's being shot with lasers. Still a really long print. I think this one clocked in at over 11 hours, and this is in the low resolution mode. When I do the final, it's probably going to be over a day of printing, which is always kind of scary. If anything goes wrong, you're out a lot of time in resin. Alright, so the Oculus assembly is already fitting into the V2 test enclosure much easier than the first round. There's some obstructions I'm seeing on the USB port, but those are pretty minor, all things considered. Doing the same trick I did on the other parts of the Oculus during the first dry fit assembly and just trimming off some of those extra tabs and little parts that aren't needed on the USB ports anymore. Generally, this is looking really good. I also printed out the front cover bezel for this round. This will hold my forward-facing camera and hand tracking unit. This front part will also help lock the position of those tracking camera surrounds on the Oculus and let me get some better measurements there. The custom face gasket part I printed a couple episodes ago is fitting onto the assembler really well too. If that had been off, I would have had to go back into Grasshopper and Fusion 360 and make a huge number of changes. It would have been a giant time drain. So I'm just glad this is all fitting on the first go. It's tough to see, but I'm still really struggling with getting those cameras to align with their little holes in the enclosure itself. It's super frustrating. I keep making little tweaks and adjustments, but I just can't quite seem to dial that in right. I'm going to repeat the process I did in the last steps, where I'm just going to pull measurements and try and write down how far to move those little openings for each camera. It's a pretty tedious process of going back and forth between printing a test round and then pulling measurements and making adjustments over and over, but it'll get there. For all the future camera surround updates, I'm not going to go back and change things at the highest level like I did in the last big revision. These are only a couple of millimeters off at the most now, so I'm just going to modify the model at the end of the parametric instruction list. This is much faster and easier, plus it lets me clearly see each change I do to the 3D model going forward. This is super helpful if I walk away from the project for a few days or more and come back to it as well. I don't have to try and remember what my thought process was in the past. I can just see each ideation I did right there at the end of the part. Well, it looks like I finally got it. You can see this set is marked as G, which means it took me 6 tries to get these things aligned correctly. Turned out that the Oculus was still not seating totally down in the enclosure, and that was throwing off some of my testing. Frustrating, but I got it done for not too bad a price in time and resin, all things considered. Obviously really glad I went with this strategy for the build. If I ended up having to print 7 copies of the entire enclosure, it would have been really bad, so I'll take this result any day of the week. You can see all the parts are finally coming together. I'm still having some minor alignment issues, but those are hopefully because this is a lower resolution print. I can increase my print resolution to 0.25mm on the final set of prints, and that should cover it. It's really exciting to finally be at this point. Getting any project like this out of the testing phase is a big accomplishment. All the work of developing the concept up from an idea to real parts that are finally in my hands is pretty amazing. For now, I'm going to lock the design and start my final part production and vendor orders in the next episode. This will involve exporting all my final parts for 3D printing, outputting my carbon fiber cut files, and generating and ordering a bill of materials for all my other hardware. Thanks, and see you next time.